You're watching Let's Chat.
Are you familiar with the Women's Fund of Greater Chattanooga? If not, bear with us for just a few minutes, and you certainly will be. First, let me introduce you to the Executive Director, which is Erica Burnette. Erica, good to see you.
Good morning.
You guys have got the Nightingale Network Grant Finalists coming up. Before we get to that, tell us, for those who don't know, exactly what the Women's Fund of Greater Chattanooga is and what you do.
Absolutely. So the Women's Fund of Greater Chattanooga is a local nonprofit. We are intentionally focused on improving outcomes and deliverables for women and girls, not only across Chattanooga, but really across the state of Tennessee. Unlike many of the direct service providers who are that frontline defense for immediate needs for women and girls, which we partner and collaborate with them across the board, we look at more systems level change. What are those policies, those laws, those procedures, even those behaviors culturally in our environment that really prohibit women and girls from thriving? And our goal is, if you think about the stream, to go a little further upstream, change those laws and policies, and positively impact those outcomes for women and girls across our community.
What do you think one of the biggest stumbling blocks to that is?
You know, what we are really railing against right now is the education and awareness, understanding the depth of some of these issues that shows like this, we scratch the surface of some of the issues that are transpiring in our community. But what does it look like to think about the whole woman, the whole girl,
Sure.
and our comprehensive community? Not just those populations that maybe we have historically targeted for intervention and services. We had a conversation yesterday with a partner in Memphis who is focusing on domestic violence, but specifically in suburban communities. So as an organization, we are tasked with looking at the big picture, and I think most importantly, to your point, bringing in our community members to deeply understand so that we can advocate together.
Sure,
for change.
and the more folks you have involved in this, the easier this change should be
Absolutely.
to facilitate.
Absolutely.
You're here to talk a little bit about the Nightingale Network.
Yes.
Tell me about this.
So our work, we focus on advocacy and policy change as well as education. But I think one of my favorite parts of our work is our Nightingale Network. This is our group of collective philanthropists. So started many, many years ago with the notion of women wanting to invest their dollars, not write a check from their husband's bank account, but invest their funds, their talent, their interest into nonprofits that are having some type of impact around issues that matter to them.
Sure.
So for us, our Nightingale Network is an opportunity for women to give their dollars to pool, whether it's $50 or $150, that ultimately go towards the advancement of the missions of local nonprofits that support our larger picture work. So this Nightingale Network, we take the dollars directly contributed by our members. Our organization matches this in addition to other donors, and then we distribute those funds across nonprofits that are having impact as direct grants.
All right, two questions. How do folks get involved with making donations to the Nightingale Fund? Number one. And number two, what sort of criteria do you use, you and your committee, when you're looking at an application? You said, yep, this one's worthy, maybe the next one not so much.
Great question. So it's never too late to join our network. I want to plug that for everyone who's listening. You can go to our website, Women's Fund of Greater Chattanooga, and join our Nightingale Network there. Your dollars go directly to the pool of funds that will be used to disseminate those grants later on next month. We will announce our finalists tomorrow at our event at the Moxie. And when we think about our criteria, this year we had an opportunity to make sure that we were using an equity lens. And so we have a committee, a volunteer committee, who's decided that they want to step up and help us facilitate this community engagement. And we comb through different applications to figure out the best ways that we can make this pool of dollars accessible for nonprofits. One of the barriers that we seek to remove is this idea that only the big players in the pond receive dollars.
Right.
So if you're a small nonprofit, if you're a startup nonprofit, if your project or initiative is something that you are dreaming about, our Nightingale Network is the perfect place for you to incubate that idea and find some funds to help support your initiative.
Sounds like a very, very worthy and a very wonderful cause. And again, you are looking for some folks to make a one-time donation. Maybe you'd prefer that they make a regular donation, either every couple of weeks or certainly every month. And it is certainly a donation well worth making and well worth considering. It is the Women's Fund of Greater Chattanooga, the Nightingale Network. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Here is the information on that. The Women's Fund of of Greater Chattanooga. You can get them on Facebook at Women's Fund Chattanooga. Again, Facebook at Women's Fund Chattanooga. And their website itself is ChattanoogaWomen'sFund.org. ChattanoogaWomen'sFund.org. Erica, thank you again. We'll be right back with more of Let's Chat right after this.